At what point do you sit down, look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm going to make my decisions based on what I like and what I love? And then the reflection looks back at you and says, you only like and love money, boss.
Watching that complete and utter numpty James O'Brien there talking about billionaires leaving the country, it's almost as if they think billionaires just sort of happen upon a big bag of money. You know, they build businesses, they employ, pay billions of pounds in taxes. You know, it's not a small thing when people who have that kind of money leave the country. It's a massive thing. And I'm interested as well, by the way, he doesn't seem to be that bothered about asking those same questions to people coming into the country as to why they don't stay where they're supposed to love, why they want to come here.
Rest in peace, the United Kingdom economy. Good luck to every hard-working patriot whose struggle to simply live day by day has just been made even more impossible. Even more impossible because of a socialist Prime Minister, Slippery Starmer, incompetent Chancellor and Rachel from Accounts, and communist-inspired Labour Party prepared to damn workers to appease the Islamist hard left and benefits Britain. Last year, we were promised that the record £40 billion tax rises were over. That was a one-and-done deal. So what did we get today? Tax hikes of £26 billion. £8 billion on freezing income and national insurance thresholds. £4.7 billion in a salary sacrifice raid. £2.3 billion in tax admin crackdowns. £2.2 billion on dividend, property and savings tax rises. £1.5 billion in extra corporation tax. £1.4 billion on electric vehicles pay per mile schemes. £1.1 billion in a gambling tax raid. £900 million on capital gains changes on trust. £400 million in council tax hikes. Oh, and just another £4.4 billion here and there in a mix of measures. Translation: we now have a record tax burden of 38% of GDP, the highest in the history of our once glorious country, with the useless OBR warning of massive fiscal risks with the prospect of, wait for it, even more tax rises. Oh, and they also say household disposable income will grow at just 0.25% a year for most of the decade, as slower wage growth and higher taxes drags incomes down. And for what? For what? Can any of us honestly say the country is in a better place? The NHS is broken. The invasion continues at pace. The property market is crashing. The justice system is screwed, with criminals being released early and now jury trials set to be scrapped. What are we paying for? Well, I will tell you. Decades of mass immigration. That is the reality that you will not hear today in the mainstream media. We now also have a state so incompetent that the entire budget was leaked as Rachel Thieves was sitting in Parliament yet to deliver a word. This was the moment she found out, and it made the UK really a laughing stock all over the world, yet again. Okay, half of you watching this are not subscribed to Dan Wootton Outspoken, and the best way you can support what we do is by hitting that subscribe button. It is completely free, and turn on the notification bell to be alerted to our new episodes.
Speaker, it is my understanding that the Office of Budget Responsibility's Economic and Financial Outlook was released on their website before this statement. This is deeply disappointing and a serious error on their part. The Office for Budget Responsibility have already made a statement taking full responsibility for their breach.
She had a spluttering start, quite literally, and it was a sign of terrible things to come.
And within 3 months, we will set out our plan for delivering his recommendations. Madam Deputy Speaker, we are rebuilding our economy. Over the last 16 months, we have overhauled our planning system to get Britain building, forged new trade deals with the United States, India and the European Union, reformed our visa system to bring the brightest and the best to Britain. We changed our fiscal rules that we inherited from the Conservatives and raised public investment to its highest level in 4 decades. And in last year's budget, I raised taxes on business and the wealthiest to close the £22 billion black hole in the public finances left by the party opposites.
You're a liar, Rachel Reeves. A complete liar and a fraud. Advance UK leader Ben Habib responded, so taxes on everyone who works and pensioners are going up. Anyone who has made money, saved it and bought a valuable house will be penalised for their efforts and success. Pensioners who live in such homes will also have to pay tax with their depleted income. People who cannot afford children will be incentivised to have more of them. That's because of the scrapping of the 2-child benefit cap. Top of the list will be foreigners on benefits. Why not give workers a tax break for having children? National debt and taxes forecast to go up. Growth and productivity are forecast to flatline at best. A recession is around the corner. This is a budget for those on benefits, punishing people who work, earn and save. Mugabe economics in the UK. But in their oft-repeated strategy, Reeves decided to blame Liz Truss.
We've all seen the alternative. 3 years ago, in their clamour to cut taxes for the richest, the Tories under Liz Truss crashed the economy and sent mortgage rates spiralling and brought pensions to the brink. They've been so loud, Madam Deputy Speaker, and yet I can't even hear them now.
Well, the former Prime Minister wasn't having any of that bullshit.
Today's budget is not a smorgasbord. It's a dog's dinner. It will make the housing market even worse. It will get rid of any incentive to save for a pension, punish the hard-working and reward the idle. None of Britain's problems will be fixed, and growth will be even worse than the OBR's downgraded forecast. And next year she'll be back for more, if she's still there, unless there's a crisis in the meantime. Here's a better idea. Cut taxes, restrain welfare, get fracking and rein in the Bank of England. In other words, implement the growth budget.
Reeves then turned to the political challengers who quite rightly terrify Labour. Firstly, Reform UK.
And then there is Reform, who promise more than £100 billion of cuts, with no details of where those cuts will come from or who will pay for them. A recipe for devastating damage to our public services. People voted for Labour because they wanted roads that aren't full of potholes. They want police on our streets and when they want an NHS that is there when they need it. And we're delivering that. We are ramping up sanctions on Russia, and we are freezing known Russian assets. But let me be clear, I don't actually mean the honourable member for Clacton. Under the Conservatives.
What the hell are you laughing at, you evil woman? Nigel Farage responded with a dire warning about what's to come in the UK.
But worst of all of these signals from a government that literally doesn't understand business, because none of them have ever been in business, and frankly, there are few in the opposition who tick that box either. Now, my prediction is the exodus will continue, the exodus will accelerate, and the tragedy of it is the sheer number of 30-somethings who want to work hard, who want to do well, who are ambitious, and for them, they're seeing the Gulf. They're even seeing, ironically, other European countries. Milan in Italy being perhaps a very good example where young, hard-working entrepreneurs are going. That's one very, very big prediction that I've got from this budget.
The party's strategy boss, Zia Youssef, also was spitting some facts, writing, wow, Labour is going to spend £1.8 billion on digital ID, and it is coming out of the Home Office budget, which is still being cut in real terms. Labour is literally diverting money away from sorting out the border crisis to taking away British people's legacy. On to Rachel's next target. The nutty Green Party leader, the tit whisperer himself, Zach Polanski, who in another shocking sign of our national decline, is about to overtake Labour in the polls, despite being a complete joke, as he proved outside of Westminster Watch.
Reeves keeps talking about tough choices, but these are always tough choices for working class people, for disabled people, for migrants. When are we going to see tough choices for multimillionaires and billionaires?
I know that the leader of the Green Party is a keen hypnotherapist, and he believes that he can achieve remarkable things using only the power of his mind. Unfortunately, the only things getting bigger under his approach would be the deficit and the rate of inflation.
No, that's under you. That's under you, Reeves. The reality is that, as James O'Brien proved on LBC, Labour's elite class actually wants to drive the people who have been driving our economy out of the country. They want to damn us to decline forever in order to shore up their hard left voting base.
I was reading about a billionaire yesterday who apparently was worth £33 billion at the last time of asking, and he's going to move to Dubai because he's worried about tax in this country. And I thought, mate, what is the point of being alive if you've got £33 billion in the bank and you're going to uproot your life and your family because you might have a bit less than that next year than you would have if you lived somewhere else? At what point do you sit down, look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm going to make my decisions based on what I like and what I love? And then the reflection looks back at you and says, you only like and love money, boss. You don't like and love anyone else. You don't like and love the people that you spend time with in the country where you live. You don't like and love the country where you live. You don't like and love the traditions of the country where you've made your home. You don't like and love the population of the country where you've made your home. You don't like and love the values of the country where you've made your home. The only thing you like and love is money. So off you go. Seriously, hop on your private jet and fly to Dubai, where you can live under Sharia law while reading on the Daily Mail website about how awful it would be to live under Sharia law.
We need money. We need money. Do you not get that, you fool? So after today, Reeves is now, without any doubt, the worst Chancellor in British history, which is emphasised by the fact at any time of trouble she leans on sexism and misogyny. But I have to say, the Tory leader Kemi Bader, I've been her biggest critic. But she had a rare moment of brilliance. She had some fire in her belly today because she wasn't taking any of Rachel's bullshit.
If she had any decency, she would resign. Yes. At the last budget, she said she was proud to be the country's first ever female chancellor. After this budget, she will go down as the country's worst ever chancellor.
She even got the other opposition MPs chanting along.
Government spending, up. Welfare spending, up. Universal credit claimants, up. Unemployment, up. Debt interest, up. Inflation, up. And what about the things that you want to go up? What about the things you want to go up? Growth, down. Investment, down. Business confidence, down. The credibility of the Chancellor, and not just down, through the floor. These figures are shocking. Does she really think that anyone will be confused by the sleight of her hand that she had in her speech? Her speech today was an exercise in self-delusion. Today, she had an opportunity to apologize and show some humility. Instead, we've been fed puff pieces in the Times and the FT showing a woman wallowing in self-pity, whining about mansplaining and misogyny.
And in a damningly mocking tone, Badenoch also made it clear why Reeves' job is simply untenable as she continued to mock her constant claims of sexism.
Her position is untenable, and she knows it. She's talking to the Chancellor. Is he mansplaining to you, by the way? Is he mansplaining? Do you want some help? Would you like some help? What the Prime Minister should do is grow a backbone and sack her. But he won't, because he knows if she goes down, he goes down with her. So we're stuck with them both, Laurel and foolhardy.
I repeat, Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer just screwed the entire country. For analysis, let me bring in today's superstar panel. But first, a reality check. Data leaks aren't a once-in-a-while story anymore. They're constant and they're massive. When a mega breach hits, millions of people's details spill at once. Phone numbers, home addresses, even sensitive stuff. Worse, that data doesn't fade away. Data brokers and people search sites buy and resell it endlessly. So scammers, stalkers, even curious employers of your future can pull up your life within a quick search. That's why I use Incogni. In a murky industry, Incogni is the proof-driven service independently verified by Deloitte to request removals from hundreds of broker sites and private databases, follow up repeatedly, and log the confirmations as they come in. Here's how simple it is. Create your account and share only what's needed to find your exposed profiles. Authorize Incogni once, just once, to act on your behalf. They start the takedowns and keep chasing so your data doesn't creep back online ever. And the power feature custom removals on the unlimited plan if you spot your info anywhere, so court portals, company directories, people search pages, drop that exact link into your dashboard. Incogni's privacy team then takes it on beyond the automated list. Unlimited links handled by specialists. It's low effort, it's effective, and it gives you real peace of mind. They can't target you if they can't find you. So don't wait for the next breach. Head to incogni.com/outspoken right now and get 60% off an annual plan. That's incogni.com/outspoken. Protect yourself, your family, and your future. But now, back to the show. And it is brilliant to have Douglas McWilliams, Commissioner of the Growth Commission, with us alongside Father Calvin Robinson and Mike Graham. Mike, unleash on what we saw today. I know you've been desperate too.
Oh my God. I mean, you just cannot believe it. I mean, the most remarkable start to the whole day, where Rachel Reeves is sitting next to the Prime Minister, looking at somebody else's phone. It's just been handed to her by Torsten Bell, reading that the entire budget has just been leaked to the world by the OBR. As somebody said earlier on today, probably by some civil servant working from home in Spain, hit the wrong button while he was cooking his, paella. These people are unbelievable. And she then got up and spoke for about an hour, and I could scarcely believe what I was hearing. You would almost think that she's living in some kind of cloud cuckoo land. She has absolutely no clue what she's doing. She's, as Kemi Badenoch just said there, and I agree with you that she had a great day today. It's quite pathetic. She's killing off the NHS. It doesn't work. The OBR, as we can see, doesn't work. The Home Office doesn't work. All of this money that she's going to give away to families with more than 2 children. Guess how many families with more than 2 children were born outside the UK? 340,000. Those are not my figures. Those are Nick Timothy MPs figures, right? So a huge number of people will benefit from this big families kind of bonus to the tune of thousands of pounds a year. And most of, at least a third of them, possibly more, will be foreign-born families.
They're shoring up their voter base, Mike. That's what this is about. It's an Islamist budget. It's a benefits budget. It's a green budget because their concern is the hard left. And so they're damning our country, aren't they, to go down a hard leftist path?
Absolutely right. And watching that complete and utter numpty James O'Brien there talking about billionaires leaving the country, it's almost as if they think billionaires just sort of happen upon a big bag of money. You know, they build businesses, they employ, pay billions of pounds in taxes. You know, it's not a small thing when people who have that kind of money leave the country. It's a massive thing. And I'm interested as well, by the way, he doesn't seem to be that bothered about asking those same questions to people coming into the country as to why they don't stay where they're supposed to love, why they want to come here. And so, you know, we've got businesses collapsing, people's pensions being raided, ordinary working people also have, you know, companies and small businesses, and they take dividends. You know, this is an absolute disaster for Britain, as you said.
Total disaster. It is a complete and utter disaster. Father Calvin Robinson, your verdict.
I think it's very sad to watch Labour running the country into the ground, and all we get from the Conservative Party is a bit of a pantomime. Lower, higher. It's so juvenile, it really is. I want to see them getting harder, tougher, and holding the government to account, because they're running roughshod over the budget, over the country's economy. I do think that we do need to emphasize the importance of the family, and we need to incentivize the family. So we do need to find a way to encourage British people to have larger families, because British people are dying out. But you and Mike are both right in that a lot of this money will go to foreign-born families and immigrants. That is a problem.
This is about, Calvin, can we just be honest about it?
Yeah.
Because, well, it's about the Muslim vote. It is about the Muslim vote. You know, Labour wasn't going to do this last year, Father Calvin, because they didn't have the money to. What's happened in the past year, Calvin? The launch of your party, you know, this mad Islamist mob, Corbyn and, you know, Zara Sultana, and the rise of the Greens, which is now an Islamist party with their deputy leader, Mohsen Ali. So I'm sorry, to me, this is all about the Muslim vote. And I do understand when people like you are concerned about our birth rate. Of course, we need to be concerned about the English birth rate, but that's not who this is appealing to.
No, it's not. And we do need a government that's strong enough to just say, actually, British people that have British babies get special benefits, but people who are foreign-born or immigrants that have babies don't get the same benefits, because then it's not the same. And our country needs to be looking after our own people first. That is highly controversial, especially to the Liberal Uni Party. So I can't see either of those doing it. But that's the system we need to go down. You know, British people are having somewhere between 1.2 and 1.4 kids. We need to get that up to 2. And so that's a large gap to fill. We need to help young British people get married and have children.
Douglas McWilliams of the Growth Commission, our economist today. You've got a damning verdict of this budget too, right?
I'm afraid so. The big problem is it doesn't solve any of our difficulties. She took money, but then she spent it. She hasn't closed the black hole, and we've done some sums, pretty rough and ready, like everyone's sums. But what they show is she's going to need to come back for more, or more precisely her successor, because I can't really see her coming back for more. I mean, what would be her excuse next time? Is it the Battle of Hastings? Is it World War I? Has some dog crept into HMRC and eaten the revenue? I don't know. I don't see how she can credibly come back and ask for more money. But whoever's Chancellor next year is going to have to do that.
So you think she's finished after today?
I'm afraid so. I've actually gone through the sums. I mean, I've been looking at these things for 51 years, so I sort of know which pages to go for, and I go for them, a bit like a dog chasing a ferret or something. And if you go through the details, there's a financial statement and budget report, table 4.1, which tells you what the damage really is. And then there's the OBR's assessment Annex A, which you compare with last year to see what's actually happened. And they show we've got 30 billion extra spending, 30 billion extra taxes. And the effect of that, if you go through it, is we're going to lose so much economic growth that the black hole gets bigger, not smaller. And that's why she's got a problem.
Mike Graham, do you agree that Reeves is finished after this? Like, despite all of her fighting talk, there's no way that she can actually survive?
I don't see how she can, but she and Starmer seem to be like cockroaches right now, because any decent Chancellor would have resigned this afternoon because of what happened this morning with the OBR. This guy Richard Hughes, who's been saying, he's going to wait, like all great British kind of civil servants. Oh, he doesn't think he should resign. He's going to wait and see whether somebody else should tell him to resign, and then maybe he'll think about resigning. But the idea that she trusts this organisation, and it's already been discredited, the OBR, because most of its forecasts are wrong. Liz Truss said it was down to them that she ended up having to leave office because they basically screwed everything up, and the markets reacted in such a way that she was left with no choice. Rachel Reeves has done far worse to the economy than Liz Truss ever did. And I didn't, I'm not holding any candle for Liz Truss, but, she at least wanted growth in the economy. She understood that in order for us to thrive as a country, there needs to be growth. There needs to be an incentive for people to produce things. There needs to be an incentive to go to work. Right now, you're actually better off if you're, say, on a relatively low income. You're better off not working, because you'll be $2,000 better off if you have a few more kids. It's just insane. And so, the ordinary working people of this country, who she promised would never have to pay any more tax, are now having to pay more tax. Council tax will go up everywhere. Food prices, and we haven't even talked about food inflation. Food inflation now is out of control. And all the figures will say that it's running at 5 or 6%. It's running at about 15 to 20%. You go in to buy something that was 50p last year, it's 75p. And I know that matters to an awful lot of people. The politicians don't seem to notice, but Rachel Reeves should get out of the way. The problem is, of course, who would they put in her place?
God.
Torsten Bell, who's meant to be this genius, right? He was the guy that came up with Ed Miliband's Edstone. That was his idea, and this is how clever he is. And there are all these kind of wonks, policy wonks, who think that, nobody should have more money than they believe they should have, and they should basically give it all to the Labour government. And we have become, I was listening today to some economists I was talking to, we have basically become like a European country. We've left Europe and become more like a European country. Massively high taxes, massively high public spending, and hardly any production of anything. We don't make anything.
I know. Douglas McWilliams, can we just put to rest once and for all this myth that Labour is spreading, that Liz Truss is the one responsible for our entire economic catastrophe?
Well, she was only in power for 7 weeks. And even then, interest rates, which were meant to be the indicator she got wrong, didn't go anywhere near as high as they are today. So the idea that she's responsible in 7 weeks for wrecking the economy is just a joke. She's become a scapegoat, and I think it's rather a pity. And there are a few, Rachel Reeves complains about mansplaining. I do think some journalists go after Liz Truss in a slightly misogynistic way. I don't think she did everything quite right. I don't think she thinks she did everything quite right. But at least she knows that we need growth. And if we don't get growth, nothing else really matters, because we'll collapse anyway.
100%. Douglas McWilliams of the Growth Commission, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.